Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt. Now, we've been up here for a while, y'all. Y'all know it. You guys have been hanging with me. A whole lot of what I'm saying, because most people look at me like I'm crazy. And when you ask certain questions, they don't know. You know, that black stuff. They've been changed to something. And it looks like they're going to stay there. So this is my job. We all have a job when we enter this realm. We all have something to do, not just me, not just you, the little boy that was just born last night. Everybody got a mission. My mission is to ensure that Negroes aren't dumb. That's it. And it's only one thing to say to get you on that is, what do you say? You have a say, right? You have a say in all this. What you say, that's all that matters. And if you say what he say or somebody else say, you're going to be fucked up. Such is the case now. Now just think about this. Think about the energy that the black man, African American, you know what I'm talking about. People who, this is what they are. Their lives are built around it. It's not built on who they are, where they come from. It's not built on that. I'm going to slap this label black on your ass and you wear it your whole life. And the Negro answer is yes, boss, willingly. So we can try to pretend and act like we don't know. Huh? I was looking over there. I had a friend call me today, said he was in Washington, D.C. And he said, because I said this a long time ago, and he just called me cracking up. He said, man, you remember how you said niggas always cooning? I said, yeah, that's their name, coon. That's what they do. He said, man, I'm leaving Washington, D.C. now. And these niggas up here in hammer pants, red, white, and blue with the flags all over it, and flip flops. For real? And if you pay attention to social media, you come on. The black talk section, really? Really? And a lot of people don't want to get with it and realize what's happening. You got to remember, a lot of these kids are crack babies. Let's not forget that. Because, see, that's something we're going to have to deal with. The lives that were lost then, where would they be today? Black people don't think of life like that. They just think of me, flat, black. These terms are affixed to you, so you will follow them. And for the past 250 years, you've been doing a wonderful job. But what I want to share with you today, this fourth, what I mean, seriously, don't we look stupid enough? Really? And we got sparklets in the kids' hand, but huh? This is black people. These are flat people. They don't move unless they're told. If I'm lying, please, you have the floor to explain yourself and explain it too. You don't have to bark. Most niggas, when they talk, they bark. They don't have the courtesy to hear the other person so they can be heard. Black people don't do that. They've been trained to be black. Anybody want to come up and argue that, you have the floor. We make all this ruckus and all this noise and don't even see our hand in it. We see it, but you hope the rest of us are so dumb that we don't see it. We see it. I was just talking to a friend and she was saying, have you noticed this 250-year thing ain't going too good? I was like, you notice that. So that's why we say when this go down, better be ready for it. And I mean, it's going down now. Just we have different views of time. It's going down now. And I'm saying the longer we participate in it, we're not just gonna be able to just get out of this. Jesus ain't gonna come down and, you know, do what you think he gonna do. And as long as we're in it, long as we're playing the part that we're told to play, what goes around comes around. Whatever you breathe, you blow out some, and your exchange is oxygen. It's an exchange. Everything you do comes back to you. Black people, after they don't know this, and if you try to explain them to them, they'll cuss you out. Trust me. You can't tell them nothing because they're black. I mean, the mind fuck was black power. What happened to black power? We're going to analyze that in the context of this 250 years, where we've been, how did we get here, and we're going to ask some questions. But I want to share with you Frederick Douglass, what to the slave is the 4th of July. Now check this out. This is another thing about time. You'll get it. This was 1852. This is the story that's given. But listen to how eloquent this man speaks. This 1852. We just got the lane. We just got off the boat. This is this cat. Okay? If you go take a picture or take a look at Frederick Douglass, you'll see he looks like somebody in your family. Now, he not wearing a conch. He don't have no locks. I mean, he was the ambassador to Haiti. For all of you who talk about Haiti and all that, them your cousins, man. Damn, you can walk to Haiti from here. When I mean here, I mean the United States. You can walk to Haiti from here. Walk. Well, until you get to the coastline where the islands start forming. You can walk. You can walk America. It's one giant landmass. Just like, and this is Lisa Cypher's words, Euro-African. Because you can do the same over there. You can walk to Europe from Africa. How you have been trained, how you look at it, makes a big difference on how you see the world and your place in it. Are we evolving or are we devolving? We got to be doing one or the other. Are we evolving or we're devolving? Now I'm gonna read this speech. This brother didn't go to school, didn't have a computer, didn't have an iPad, didn't have a car, didn't have no bro. That nigga broke. These are your ancestors. These are the people you try to disassociate from. Not all of you, of course. Of course, you guys aren't. That's you. You were here to replace those guys. You don't see it. You just believe Jesus gonna come fix it. I knew. That's the black person. That's the African American. They didn't evolve on their own. They had help. Anybody want to come up and say that didn't happen? You have the floor. You have all these people out there bullshitting you because it's easy too, because you believe anything, but you don't believe yourself. Check out this speech. I want y'all to see it too. I want you to see it too. Check this brother out. 1852. How many years is that? How many years ago is that? 1852. We're gonna read pieces of it where it gets interesting and stop and ask ourselves, are we evolving or are we devolving? Think of the time, 1852, however you want to think of it, wherever you believe time, what was going on back there, take that. This is over 100 years in the rearview mirror. Are we evolving or are we devolving? Frederick Douglass, what to the slave is the 4th of July? July 5th, 1852. This is excerpts from the speech. You go check out the whole speech. I don't want to do the whole speech because of time, but you'll get the gist. The fact is, ladies and gentlemen, when the distance between this platform and the slave plantation from which I escaped is considerable, and the difficulties to be overcome in getting from the latter to the former are by no means slight. That I am here today is, to me, a matter of astonishment as well as of gratitude. You will not therefore be surprised in what I have to say. I invent, okay, well, one of the things that I notice um, when you listen to Black people talk and listen to African American talks, they always give you gutter words, the lowest base of the language. Remember, this is American English. English people don't sound like we sound here. They came into your country, you changed the way they spoke. They have to change the way they speak to fit in with you, to learn your language. This is you go listen to any British TV show, whatever, they don't sound like you. They speak totally, that's any country over there. You change the spelling. You know, S used to be, you know how they used to write? F used to be T. When you read their old literature, you'll see that the language is nothing but how you speak. This is American English. It's yours. You trying to sound white. What? Seriously. When you talk to Black people and African Americans, tell me you don't get it. But when Massa come up, bow your head, right or wrong. I don't care how you act, what when they say you sold your soul, when that's said, you wouldn't believe how many. All to be pat on the head, to live a life that somebody's mapped out for you. I am here today is a matter of astonishment as well as of gratitude. You will not therefore be surprised if in what I have to say I invent no elaborate preparation nor grace my speech in any high sounding exordium. What does exordium mean? What does exordium mean? Being going through public school, words like this wasn't taught. What does exordium mean? When you see the word, you done probably said it when you find out what it means. Do not be confused by your own language. This is your language. I have been able to throw my thoughts hastily and imperfectly together, and trusting to your patient and generous indulgence, I will proceed to lay them before you. For this purpose is of celebration, is of the 4th of July. It is the birthday of your national independence and of your political freedom. There is consolidation in the thought that America is young. Great streams are not easily turned into channels. That's something you learn when you just connect with nature. Then you realize that you're connected to nature. Then you realize what part of the planet that you're from, what that planet produced, why all those people were armied out of their homes for the minerals and the riches there, and you celebrate the holiday that those people did. That's menticide. That's menticide. Really? 250 years and you're celebrating? You eating? You're making their coffers fatter? You're forcing. You're forcing your money down their pockets. Yes or no? Yes or no? What I'm saying, remember what I said, and you can ask your mama, grandmama, great, any of them who are still alive. You ask them if this is true. What goes around comes around. And America has been shitty, not just to the people, to the planet, to the animals. I know you see that heat wave that's sweeping Europe now. You just think that, huh? As long as you got your hand in their pocket, you gonna get some of that. You gonna get some of that. See, in this 250 years, what have you done? You toe up the plant. I have an uncle that's about to turn 100. He say, I wouldn't believe it because I wasn't born. He was born in the 30s, 29, something like that. So anyway, he said you wouldn't believe how beautiful this place was. He said just all the rivers that just imagine the Mississippi River running blue. Imagine the Mississippi River running blue. Can't even fathom it. See, your hands in the pocket of the people who make that river turn like that. I'm talking about Black African Americans. You're celebrating 250 years of what? You celebrating the wars? You celebrating all the wars that you started and that you ruined innocent people's lives? Really? You go all over the world and do people like this? Now, through your greed and avarice, all the countries are now right here in your backyard. They mayors, governors, and I speak to them, and unlike the average American, the average is more than average. They have a connection to their people that connects them with their God, whatever they say God is. I don't know. They have their own interpretation of it. It ain't Jesus. They have their own interpretation of God. Guess who don't know what their interpretation is of it? And remember, that religious stuff is what gets you to move. Black people don't have no, they were Jesus. Do you know that there are Negroes that don't on page 1 of the Bible don't know that it says that two men make a woman? They don't get that. This is what I'm saying. This is the mental capacity. This is what's going on. And as you celebrating, don't know what you're celebrating. Don't know what you're celebrating. Just do it because you can. And arrogant as hell. This, for the purpose of this celebration, is the 4th of July. It is the birthday of your national independence, of your political freedom. There is consolation in the thought that America is young. Great streams not easily turned from channels, worn deep, in the course of ages. They may sometimes rise in quiet and stately majesty and inundate the land, refreshing and fertilizing the earth with their mysterious properties. Mysterious properties. That's you. I mean, people who know they're indigenous, people who are doing their genealogy, people who are going to find out where they're people from. What did they live? What rivers and streams were there? What did they eat? What you got to know that about you. It's not just your life, it's theirs too. It's your kids too. You got to see this. You got to see this. You got to see your spot in it. You should be at by now. It's 2026. By now, these are real numbers. Today, at least 90% of so-called indigenous Americans should be talking to communicating with the plants, the trees and stuff, at least. You make that suggestion. Motherfucker, they may sometimes rise stately. They may also rise in wrath and fury and bear away on their anger waves, on their angry waves, the accumulated wealth of years of toil and hardship. They, however, gradually flow back to the same channel. Do you do did you get that? Because I think I kind of butchered that. It's kind of like the same saying, what goes around comes around. When the tide goes up, it's got to come back down. And when it comes back down, it's going to come back down in the channels that it formed going up. You got to get that. But while the river may not turn aside, it may dry up and leave nothing behind but a withered branch and the unsightly rock to howl in the abyss sweeping wind, the sad tale of departed glory. As with rivers, so with nations. So what he was saying was what's coming up. America's rising, and you having this big holiday, you whipping up the people for some 4th of July stuff. But what have you done with it? You have wasted generations of resources, haven't you? Pay attention to this. Um, what's it? I think it's what it is. It's a corporation called the United States of America, and your role in it. The simple story of it is 76 years ago, the people of this country were British subjects. I'll run that back so we'll get it. A simple story of it is this, that 76 years ago, the people of this country were British subjects. They came from somewhere, not just remember Europe. What were you doing if this says that they came in 76 years ago? What were you doing 100 years before that, before they got here? Black people don't ask themselves this question. They can't. They're trapped in the black box. Just think of it as a TV that's turned off. What do you see? Black screen. That's basically what black people are. Anybody who want to come argue and say it's not, you have the floor. Because all I'm gonna ask you at the end, was that something your grandmama would do? Or was that something your grandfather would do? I like the kickback because, I mean, brothers, you know how these motherfuckers always try to bash us with everything, but you know what it is. You could change this world, but you believe you're something that somebody told you you were. They were British subjects. They were under the British crown. And what did they come over here and do in 1776? And how the black man, how the African American man helped him. See, that's one thing we don't like to talk about. We don't like to talk about our part in it. That's hypocritical, isn't it? If it's not, please come up and explain how it's not. And we have all these bootlegs with it. Remember, what goes around comes around. But your fathers, they went so far in their incitement as to pronounce the measures of government unjust, unreasonable, and oppressive, and all those such as ought not to be quietly submitted to say now that America was right and England wrong is exceedingly easy. But there was a time when to pronounce against England and in favor of the cause of the colonies tried men's soul. On the 2nd of July, 1776, the old Continental Congress, to the dismay and the lovers of ease and the worshipers of property in the form of revolution, it may refresh your minds to help my story if I read it, resolved that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Britain is ought to be dissolved. Citizens, your fathers made good with that resolution. They succeeded, and today you reap the fruits of their success. The freedom granted is yours, and you, therefore, may properly celebrate this anniversary. The 4th of July is the first great fact in your nation's history, the very ring bolt in the chain of your yet undeveloped destiny. What, to the American slave, is the 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. These are black men. These are African American. These are Hebrew Israelite. These are Moors. These are FBA, whatever. Like I said earlier, one of the things is to make sure that's implemented is menticide. Menticide. I really suggest that you go check this brother out, Dr. Bobby Wright. He's on YouTube. Menticide. It will blow you away. You'll listen to it more than 5 times. To him, your celebration is a sham. You boasted liberty and unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass fronted impudence. Check out the vocabulary in this cat. Check out the vocabulary. I can't even keep up. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgiving, with all your religious parade, and solemnly are to him mere bombast and fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the Americans, the people of these United States. He didn't say American, he said people of the United States. At this very hour, go where you may, search where you will, roam through all the monarchs and despotisms in the old world, travel through South America, search out every abuse. And when you have found the last, lay your facts side by side of the everyday practices of this nation, and you will say with me that for revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns America reigns without a rival, and you shines letting off fireworks. I mean, this going on way after this brother passed, over 100 years, and you still. And when people call you dumb, seriously, don't get mad. Just hunch your shoulder, like, yeah, because really, and this was 1850 something, huh? And we still, not we, of not us, no, but you know what I mean. So I have a question for the group. How much energy do you think the black man puts into eating hot dogs, letting off fireworks, barbecuing, putting into the economy that he's not a part of? He or she is not a part of, but they're gonna roll with it for something. Behold the practical operation of this internal slave trade, the American slave trade, sustained by American politics and American religion. Hey, did you guys find out about the spiritual practices that were going on here before Christian and Catholicism got here? You do know what it is, right? You should know that. Fellow citizens, this murderous traffic is today in active operation in this boasted republic. I see the I see the bleeding footsteps on the way to the slave markets, where the victims are to be sold like horses, sheep, and swine. My soul sickens at the sight. But a still more inhuman, disgraceful, and scandalous of things remain to present it. By an act of the American Congress, slavery has been naturalized in the most horrible and revolting form. The fugitive slave law makes mercy to them a crime and bribes and judges who try them. Talking about this court system doing that today. In the court, now he's explaining the court system today, almost 200 years ago. Are we evolving or are we devolving? I mean, which one is it? Which one is it? Are we evolving or devolving? If this cat was spitting these words damn near 200 years ago, and on the national scale, this is where we're at. I mean, somebody explain it. Please explain it. Like I say, we can't keep playing like we with him because, like I'm saying, what he has sown, he has definitely got to reap. You got to do that. Your mama got to do that. Your daddy, everybody does that. You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. When you try to hog up everything, you're not paying attention to what's going on. You don't care who you shit on. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's unfortunately because I think you know what you do. You have a conscience. You know you're not supposed to lie. You know you're supposed to take care of each other. You know you're not supposed to have no envy or jealousy in your heart. Are those all black attributes? Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? We can't act like, we didn't do that. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. And I would suggest stop doing it. Stop doing it. But you can't because the soul is sold. The soul, the soul is sold. And what you give it away for? Nothing. Let this damning fact be perpetually told that in tyrant killing, king hating, people loving, democratic, Christian America, the seats of justice are filled with judges who hold their office under an open and palatable bribe. I take this law to be one of the grossest infringements of Christian liberty. And if the churches and ministers of our country were not stupidly blind, how was he talking about the judges and the ministers talking like they run together? Is he talking about the ministers of today? Remember, time, time. What time was it when these people got here? They tell you it's like a what, a 1562 or 13, whatever, whenever they say they got here. My question always is, and please, somebody come help me out with an answer. What was the time here before they got here? See, if I ask that question to an African American or Black, they look at me like I'm crazy. That's what happens when you follow somebody and you want everything they got, and you don't even stop to look and see what you had. That's a fact Black people and African Americans don't want to discuss. They don't want to talk about that. So notice they talk about the judges and the ministers in the same breath. Check it out. Check out how this cat is talking almost 200 years ago. He didn't go to school. He didn't go to junior college. I take this law to be one of the grossest infringements of Christian liberty. And if the churches and the ministers of our country were not stupidly blind or most wickedly, why would you use the word wicked when you're talking about ministers? Are we evolving or devolving? Some of these youngsters been sharing some of these church ministers with me. Really? I know. Yeah. I mean, talk to you like a dog and you just fill up the plate. You talk about pimping. You talk about pimping. If the churches and ministers of our country were not stupidly blind or most wickedly indifferent, they too would so regard it. They are utterly silent in respect to a law which robs religion of its cheap significance and makes it utterly worthless to a world lying in wickedness. Allow me to say in conclusion, I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work the downfall of slavery. The arm of the Lord is not shortened, and the doom of slavery is certain. I therefore leave off where I began with hope. This was 160, 70 years ago. Have we devolved or are we evolving? Uh, I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts. What do you think, is happening? Because remember, you do have a voice. You have a voice. Just because you have a voice don't mean you can talk. Do some research on yourself. Nobody is more important than you. So the young man was asking me, well, how did we communicate back then? I'm like, you got to look at the nature. They had nature to teach them everything. And they picked off from that, they honed their skills and picked up on that. You're a part of that because those were your people. That's why people came over here and took your identity and gave you black. It's simple. It's simple. So do this. Listen to people when they say black. You can hear the disdain when they're saying it. I think that black plague did something to them. Really. Celebrating all these holidays that none of your people were in. You have nothing to do with. No, I'm not saying this is the 4th of July. I'm saying all kind of other stuff, Christmas, all that other crap. Got nothing to do with you. You have your own culture. You have your own way of seeing things. The world doesn't look the same to you as it looks to nobody else, does it? You have to ask yourself why they have these wars over here with the people over here. Those are your people. I was speaking with a lady today. She's in her 70s, and she says she'll never go back to Mississippi. And I asked her why, and she said from my mother's experience. I'm like, huh? And she explained how her grandmother put her mother on a train up to New Jersey to get out of Mississippi because she thought her daughter would be killed. This is what people who came up with the 4th of July, this is what they did to those people down there. Not just there, everywhere. Everywhere. And we're celebrating it. We're really? So, you have to excuse I'm like, I can't believe it. And it seems like it's a crime to ask one of these Negroes, why do you do that? And watch the blank, dumb nigger look come across their face. Why are you doing that? I don't know. That's the majority. Right or wrong. So all these holidays, all these things that you do, would you really do that? Like I said, how much the charcoal, how much charcoal would you like to have that check for the end of the day? All the charcoal sold on the 4th of July. How much is that? What percentage of that is Black people's? How much do they add to that pot for this holiday? That's what I mean, supporting other people, their ideas, their ideologies. And they spoke about it in that poem, the Frederick Douglass speech. What are you doing? And the Negro has gotten so good, they look at you like you crazy. I'm talking, these are 60, 70-year-old people. What do you think their children know? Now, don't get me wrong, children break away from their parents' thoughts rapidly because they realize that parents taught them some dumb shit that they were taught and never told nobody. Tell these kids what happened. See, in some of these towns, some shit has happened, and you just walk right over the bodies. Jay, welcome, Jay. Hey, man, how you doing?
Oh, I
Oh,
just
I
caught
just called.
your broadcast. I
Oh,
didn't know you were on, so I decided to chime in.
how would
People
you
are
go?
still celebrating Independence Day with the things that's going on right now. Serious?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think that's a way to not to think about it, you know? You don't think about it. You can just pretend like it's in a dream. You're in another reality, and what's really happening isn't happening because I'm in this reality.
You
I
got
mean, that's
people living out of their cars right now.
you said
That's
what?
numbers of you got people living out of their cars, homelessness. And you're gonna celebrate something like I'm not saying they are, but the reality is why celebrate fallacy? I caught the tail end of, before I came in about the 4th of July and what you were referring to. So I just decided to come in and express my thoughts on what I think of what's going on right now.
Well, express your thoughts.
Well, the question does remain, and I said people are celebrating that holiday, irregardless of their position and who they are. Um, you're basically perpetrating the biggest lie on the planet. Independence Day, 4th of July. I think I caught it when you mentioned about what they were doing when they came here, and one of the brothers here, um, I had a conversation. Remember when he was telling me that when it comes to military service and servicemen, I don't think they realize they're nothing more than just managed serial killers.
Yeah, man. I was having a conversation with a cat, and he was in the military. Because you know how military people wear the paraphernalia that connects them to the military. And he walks up to me, and he was, telling me about how he feels about all that now. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He said, man, I was in Vietnam. I said, oh, shit. Because most people don't study Vietnam, they just know the name. But it was horrific what they did to those people over there. And like you say, brothers was managed killers. And he was confessing to that. Like, I'm like, how often do you think of that? He goes, at least 20 times a day.
Are you still talking?
Yeah, well, I'm finished
You
now.
still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have problems with um, the signal, so I wanted to make sure. Um, well, you remember that journalist in the '70s, Seymour Hersh?
Yes.
He- Yeah, they did not like that guy. That guy, he actually um, would take the accounts from the eyewitnesses, and
Right.
he would base his stories centered around the eyewitness accounts. And they did mention in the documentary, it's called The Cover Up. Anybody can dig it up and watch that documentary. And they were saying that they were actually, in order to increase the body count, they started going after the civilian populations in Vietnam. And it wasn't an isolated incident either. So
Right.
that's why I go take the position that all these wars are nothing more than just mass murders. We talk about mass shootings and stuff like that with random shootings here in America, but what about the wars? What
Right.
about the invasion of other countries?
Right.
What is it that's overseas that even if they were to say it had to do with resources, what is it that they have over there that America does not have?
Right.
Obviously, it's for some other reason.
Right.
So the reason why I question all this hype and propaganda that we've been, you know, uh, what's the word, digesting for so many years, whether it be through the school system or news or even the religious orders that operate on this planet. The religion itself, the one, of course, that is amplified here in America is what we know as Christianity. Christianity how that was spread, no different than way any other Abrahamic religion was spread, by the actual torture and forcing of that um, ideology and so-called. Now, back in the day, you when you used to say you're religious, that used to be revered. Now they use a different tactic. They try to say that it's not a religion anymore. They try to say it's a way of life. Well, yeah, we know it's a way of life, but what kind of way of life are you talking about? It's still a religion, and it was
You there?
acts.
You say
No
that
matter
again?
how. Oh, I got cut off.
Yeah.
What's the last thing you heard me say?
I don't know.
Oh, let me repeat myself. I'll try to go back as far as I remember. You might have heard me from when I
Oh,
mentioned that the wars that are fought where troops are sent, across other lands, invading other countries, or for some trigger event. I add that part to it because if you ever notice, these wars have a pattern to them. They use trigger events to justify killing
right.
far more than that was killed during the trigger event. Um, the civilian population always gets the brunt of the death toll in all wars, so that's why I called them mass murders. So with Christianity, that's how it was spread. It was spread and and it was engineered. You got 25, last I checked, there's 25,000 different factions of Christians worldwide.
How
Why
many?
is it like that? 25,000 the last time I checked, but I heard the number count went up since I last checked, what, maybe 13 years ago. Different factions of Christians worldwide. I'm sure the other Abrahamic religions are the same. It's all tailor made according to, the actual people that they encountered when they came in with it. You know, it was through violence that it was forced upon here in the Americas and around the world, all in the name of some deity, whatever it is. In this case, whatever God you refer to, and whatever text you're using, the Bible's been revised multiple times, revisions, and it's basically plagiarized material from sources that predated it by thousands of years, with the corresponding distortions added to it. So all these ideologies are used to justify all these different heinous acts by demonizing the victim or the people that you're trying to conquer. All this activity through propaganda has been used to inflict the very things we're seeing. And now that they know they don't need these people anymore, now people are crying about it. So where is your Jesus now? I mean, where's your God bless America? Yeah, they're celebrating the holiday as we see it now. Certain individuals, whoever they are, but it's pointless considering what you've just covered, consider what I'm just saying right now, and it's all based on hypocrisy.
So, you were talking about wars earlier. And what do you think about now all these countries the United States have warred against? Now, all of them are here in significant numbers. What do you take from that?
Well, I look at it as a means of those that have actually, swallowed and digested, these aspects of, that's the enemy, and now they have the enemy, or so-called enemy here. It should be a wake-up call for anybody that actually used to digest that stuff, to spit it out and start to realize that you've been tricked. And as far as I'm concerned, those that are coming here, you don't know who they are. You have no idea.
Right.
It's always a setup every time. There's so many setups. It's staggering how many people don't even question things that they should be questioning. I mean, I started questioning things just by the way they could do that. type of activity. One moment a nation's considered enemy, next moment they're your allies, then the enemy. So I realized that, we were being manipulated. So I left because I realized you don't turn things on and off like that,
Right.
just like that. So that was obviously indicative of and proof of being manipulated to justify whatever agenda that's being served by the ones that's telling you that's the enemy. Go kill him. Go kill her.
Right.
Now that they're here, the sky is the limit. You have no idea or clue of what they're going to use, whatever sleeper agents that may be among them. You have no idea.
You have no idea. And, my thing is that many of us celebrate and don't have a clue onto what's going on.
I caught something that you mentioned about the calendar. That's very important because according to whose calendar are you actually referring to specific events that they feed to you?
Right.
Because I hold to the idea that these are just constructs set up anyway. But
Right.
if you're going to go off of somebody else's calendar and it's not your own, I mean, basically, you're following a narrative that they place within their own paperwork, and you put yourself on this paperwork that they have actual control over. So when you call yourself by specific um, identities that they give you and specific dates based on Gregorian calendar, you're basically subject to their terms of their own narrative. That goes for any religious manuscript as well.
Okay. So,
Characters in the Bible, characters in the Quran, the Torah, they're
okay.
fabricated.
Okay. So you just explained that what you just explained was simple. I mean, you get it. Why, when you speak to the average Joe on the street, I mean, like I'm saying, it was a point in reading that Frederick Douglass speech because it was almost 200 years old. And I want to ask, are we evolving or devolving?
We've actually are going backwards, feeding off of things spoon fed to us in
Right.
terms of a narrative, because you're not actually taking into account who these beings are that gave you this information for you
Right.
to digest. The school system's been nothing but one big massive indoctrination. Whatever little truth is available in there, it's not uh, really useful for you, the purposes that they had planned when they started the system the way they did. Your education is based upon what they needed you, whatever task they needed you to actually engage and partake of, but always maintaining the position of the paperwork that they put before you, the narratives that you will always be the person on the bottom, as opposed to equality or position that you were before they even got here.
Right.
To talk about freedom, no. There's nobody on this planet has ever witnessed freedom. There's a difference between freedom and liberty. Liberty is where it gets granted, and it's literally a slack in the chain, but you're still attached to the chain. Just use maritime and naval jargon. When sailors are given liberty, they come along the shoreline, and for a specific determination of time, they have to come back to that ship. So they're
You,
not free.
you know what that reminds me of, dude? Like a dog tied to a tree,
Yes.
and when he's close to the tree, he got all this rope. Then another, then another dog come walking by.
Yeah.
Oh, oh man.
That's how it's set up.
But check out the mindset the sailors are in. They act like they going halfway across the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah.
Oh, freedom has never been the agenda of those that control the purse strings and control the narrative. They just talk. They talk it, but they grant you liberty instead. I mean, we see the proof of it right now.
Right.
I mean, even slavery, there was never no intentions to abolish slavery. So we know this. Even the 13th Amendment, if you read it carefully, it reads like a schizophrenic wrote it. You know, it abolishes slavery and reinstates it all in the same setting with the exception clause.
Yeah, man. But the way in which this brother put his thoughts together was impressive for 1852. And like I said earlier, he was the ambassador to Haiti. And United States wanted him to go over there and convince the Haitians to do some diabolical shit that they always do. And he wasn't with it. So, I tip my hat for that because the average person, okay, boss, I'll do it. He wasn't with it. And so, look, man, I'm about to close down, but I just want to share this with the audience before I get out of here. The title of this piece tonight, "And the Rockets' Red Glare, the Bombs Bursting in Air." Do you know what that's saying? And this is another thing. We celebrate stuff. And I think this has something to do with why we're devolving. The rockets were red glare, bombs bursting in air. They was dropping them bombs on you. And you celebrate that? You guys have a good night. Peace.